Good morning and welcome. So I don't know what you were up to on the weekend, assuming you were probably busy, maybe doing yard work, gardening. But basically, as I said, we don't want to let our yoga practice slide because it's one of those things that you don't know that you're not in the right shape until you do something and throw something out. And it can happen. But today we're going to focus on core exercises. So, how do you know if your core is weak? And by the way, you're going to need two blocks. And if you don't have two blocks, a small pillow will work for our exercise. But I do hope that you are acquiring and do have some blocks. But if you need to use the arms of a chair to get up, or you find yourself just leaning on things because you're not able to just sort of stand up on your own, people with a big sway back, often that can be the result of a weak core because it takes muscles to have good posture. Now, you need to know that practicing yoga, probably the best way to improve your posture. Doesn't happen overnight, but little by little, you're building better posture, you're building stronger muscles, you're staying flexible, you're creating energy because circulation is improved throughout your body. And when we release stress, that just makes a lot more room for energy flow and basically good vibrations. So core muscles are basically your abs and the muscles of the back, so the abdominal muscles and the muscles of the back that attach to your pelvis and your spine. So let's get started. We're going to, and you know, I do want you to have and feel like you're able to do your own little practice from time to time. So let's start out in cat cow because that warms up the spine. Place your hands with your fingers spread wide apart, wrists under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and lengthen your spine. So get your alignment just right here with your middle finger pointing forward. Feel the spine stretching. Try not to contract by having your hands too close to your knees. Make sure you're as long as you can be in your spine so you can maximize the stretch and the release of the muscles. So on an exhale, round your back, pull your bellies in, tuck your chin, drop your tail. And on an inhale, curl your toes under and hollow out your lower back. Make this movement smooth and synchronize it with your breath. Well, I just heard a little crack. Don't need to go see the chiropractor today. Exhale, round your spine. And truly, this is like a self massage, a little bit of chiropractic, physiotherapy, all rolled into one little hour. And on an inhale, hollow out your lower back. Do it slowly, do it mindfully. So you're paying attention to what you're doing. And once again, exhale, round your spine, drop your tail, tuck your chins, and pull your bellies in. Now, really hold here. Hold your belly in, but breathe, even while you're holding your belly in. And let's release. And hollow out your lower back. Inhale. And the slower you go, the lovelier this feels and the safer. And one more time, flatten the tops of your feet and round your back into cat. Now pull your abs in, pull your belly in towards your spine. Feel the muscles activating. This is part of strengthening your core as we warm up the spine. Last time into cow, curl your toes under, hollow out your lower back, lifting your head, lifting your tail, and let's come to neutral. Now, if your hands were forward of your wrists, pardon me, your wrists were forward of your shoulders, you may want to make sure you're in alignment here. We're just going to lift the knees off the floor. So toes are curled under, hovering. Feel your core engaging and breathe. So another sign of a weak core is that you stop breathing when you're working your core. Don't do that. Keep breathing. But feel your core engaging, and you've probably had enough of this. So let's lift the hips up and come into a soft downward dog. Draw your upper body and your head and neck between your arms. Keep your knees soft. Let your head hang off your neck. And now straighten one leg and bend the other. And give your head a little bit of a swing back and forth. And let's change. Gently warming up, stretching the backs of the legs. And change. Good stretch for the back of the knee. That Achilles tendon, I've said it before, people playing racket sports, you want to make sure that this tendon is stretched, flexible, because when it's strained or torn, there is Zippo that you can do other than sit on the bench for the next month or 2 or 3 until it heals. So making sure everything's all stretched out, and then walk your feet towards your hands. Okay, and then keep your knees soft and let your upper body just hang. Feel the release of tension in your neck when you let the weight of your head and reverse the force of gravity on your cervical vertebra, your neck vertebra. This should feel really good. Your belly's resting on your thighs. Let's bend the right leg. And then you're going to place your right hand on your left instep, and you're going to inhale, and you're going to turn to the side of the straight leg, just in case you're confused. The leg that remains straight, this is the leg. You're going to twist to that side. You're going to reach up, stretch up with the opposite arm. Well, it'll be the same arm as the leg that's straight, and then float that arm down. Let's change to the other side. So you're now bending the left leg or the other leg, whatever it was. You're going to put your left hand on your right instep. Inhale, sweep the other arm up, reaching, stretching. So you're twisting to the side of the straight leg. Other leg is softly bent. And release that arm down. Let your head hang, and then keep your knees soft as you slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Keep your chin tucked into your chest. This is always a brilliant way to get up. If you've been on your knees in the garden, slowly rolling up. Okay, sun salutations. Let's begin. Does it matter which way I turn? Tech guy? No? Okay, although this I'm kind of close to the wall, but try not to be. Okay, sun salutations. If you do nothing else, said it before, if you do nothing else and you think, okay, I should just do a bit of yoga and get ready for my day, this is it, all right? And this is the classical Hatha Yoga sun salutations version. This is the one that they did 5,000 years ago. Inhaling in place, exhale, hands in prayer. And even when you're standing tall, think about engaging. This is the spotlight today. We're engaging the core. Okay? Step your feet apart, reach your arms up, look up, reach up, and arc back. Separate your hands. Inhale, stretch up, lift out of your waist, and then reach forward. You're going to graze the wall here and bring your fingertips down to the floor. If you need to, you're going to bend your legs, but maybe your legs will be straight. Let your head hang. Again, feel what your belly's doing. We're going to start using our core. So step your left leg back. Drop your knee on the mat. Bring your shoulders directly over your hips. You can stay here or lift that back knee off the floor. Now, Want you to notice here, sometimes we've got more weight in the back or more in the front. Try to be balanced so you're feeling both thighs firing. Both your quadriceps are firing here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. So your high lunge, feel those thighs activated. Fronts of your thighs. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart, bring them down to the mat. Take that front leg back. Come on into your push-up or plank position. Now, major workout for the core, obviously upper body and arms as well. If you have wrist or shoulder issues, you may need to drop your knees to the floor, take some of the weight off, always practicing mindfully, compassionately, with awareness. But you should be able to hold a posture like this for just under a minute and be reasonably comfortable and be able to keep breathing. So this is a very important position, especially for ladies, but for men who haven't worked out in a while, this is a good one as well. Release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, keep your hands where they are, take your butt back towards your heels. This is lowering everything closer to the floor, which is where you want to be. And then release your forearms and elbows onto the mat. Slowly, carefully, come forward. Bum stays up in the air. Eventually, your chest and your chin will be on the mat. And then slide everything out behind you. Bring your forehead down to the floor. Align the edges of your fingertips with your shoulders. Bring your elbows into your side body. Press your forearms down towards the floor. Note the position of your shoulder blades and your shoulders. Roll an invisible alley with your nose, and then slowly press up into baby cobra. So you're not using your hands, you're using your back core stabilizing muscles. Ooh, you can really feel them firing, getting stronger. Be sure you're breathing. One more breath in. Exhale, come on all the way down. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up, walk your feet a few inches forward and then bend your knees. Press your belly onto your thighs, your chest towards your knees, align your ears with your biceps, your inner arms. Make sure you're pressing all your fingers into the mat. On an exhale, take your sits bones further backwards to lengthen your spine as you attempt to straighten your legs and press your heels into the mat. Feel that beautiful stretch once again, particularly in the lower part of the legs, but this is stretching the hamstrings. Downward facing dog is a balm for so many things. I mean, BALM, a balm. It's an inversion, which is excellent, getting extra blood supply to your noggins. Lift that left leg up in the air. Look at your left hand, and then swing that foot with the bent knee as far forward as you can, or pick it up at the ankle and place it back towards the front of the mat. Other leg comes forward, and let your torso hang down. Again, give your head a little bit of a swing. Okay, here's where you engage your core. Pull your bellies in. Engage your thighs. Inhale, sweep the arms up, feet apart for balance. Reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, sweep the arms out to the side, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands into prayer. And let's do another round. Inhale, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart, arms up, reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Let your head hang. Step your right leg back, drop the knee to the mat, bring your hands onto your front thigh. And now if you wish, you lift that back knee off the floor, balancing your weight by keeping the shoulders over the hips, balancing between back thigh, front thigh. Inhale, sweep the arms up in your high lunge. So pressing through the heel. The anchor is always the back leg, but all the weight is not in the back leg. Feel your thighs firing, and you'll feel them again. We're going to do a vinyasa after this. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart, bring them down onto the mat. Other leg comes back, coming into our push-up plank position. Now, take a moment here. If you can see the wrinkles in your wrist, they should be aligning with the front of your mat. So you know you've got good alignment in the wrist arm area. Pull your bellies in. And remember, if you need to come out of something before I say, listen to your body. Come out when you need to. Feel your core firing here. Now release your knees. Flatten the tops of your feet. Leave your hands where they are. Slowly take your buttocks. You're flattening the tops of your feet. It's a lot easier on your knees when you do. So now your torso's all on your thighs. You're stretching through your arms and shoulders. Let's just take a moment to do that. Why not? Because we're going to be using our shoulders. So nice to stretch them. As I said, stretching before an activity and afterwards is obviously ideal. Not going to always happen, but better to know and do it sometimes than never. Okay, so sliding forward, chest and chin come down on the mat. I know this can be very awkward for some people, especially if you have a stiff or tight upper back. And then slide everything together. You know, if we don't move, things tend to fuse together. So just the very fact that you're here and you're moving means that you're really keeping everything in good condition. Alrighty, line up the fingertips with the edges of your shoulders. Bring your elbows into your side body and then press your forearms down towards the floor. Roll an invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck. Feel your hips and pelvis pressing into the mat. The backs, tops of your feet are flat on the floor, so your toes are pointing backwards. Now, slowly lifting the head, neck, shoulders off the ground. Here we are in baby cobra. For those of you wishing to push up into the fuller expression, push the floor away from you. Keep your shoulders down, keep your elbows in, and let your eyeballs float up towards your third eye, Ajna chakra. And breathe. Beautiful stretch for core muscles. One more inhalation. Exhale, lengthen as you lower. Curl your toes under. Lift your hips up. Walk your feet just a few inches forward and then bend your knees. Press your belly onto your thighs, your chest towards your knees. Align your ears with your inner arms. Press all your fingers into the mat. And then as you exhale, lengthen your spine by moving your sits bones towards the back of your mat as you attempt to straighten your legs. And remember, it's not important whether or not your heels engage with the mat. The importance here is the stretch that you feel in the backs of your legs. And breathe. One more breath in, lift the right leg up, look at your right hand, swing that foot as far forward as you can, other leg forward, and let your head hang. Let it all hang out here. Give your head a swing. Engage your core. Pull your belly in. Engage your thighs, lifting up on your kneecaps. Bring your arms right beside your ears. Inhale, sweep up, feet apart for balance. Reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhale, stretch up, lift out of your waist. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands in prayer. Okay. So, balance is another aspect of a strong core. So, some days balance is quite difficult, other days not, but you need your core. So, let's just do a little bit of balancing before we move into another vinyasa. Lifting the left leg up. So, just lifting the left leg up, keeping the knee bent. So this is a fairly simple balance. Focus your gaze on something. Obviously, you can feel your leg firing, but your core is working as well. So it's simple. There's lots going on just by holding one leg up and balancing. How are you doing with this? Everybody feeling centered, grounded, balanced? And you might wobble a bit. That's okay. Core stabilizing muscles, they got to work. They like doing something. Lift the knee a little bit higher. Great. And give that standing leg a good shake out. And let's see what the other side feels like. Okay, so take a moment. You can wait for your own inner cue. All you're doing is lifting the other leg up. If it helps to have your hands out to the side. Anybody get Cirque du Soleil tickets yet? I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't know how much they cost these days. Probably plenty, but talk about flexibility, strength, and energy. Holy smokes, it's really something. So it's down at Ontario Place under the big tent until somewhere the middle of July. I think it starts the end of this month. So maybe even your standing leg is wobbling. It's okay. The muscles are firing. One more breath in. And release. Okay, come on up to the front of your mat and step your left leg back. So your right leg is pointing forward. You've got a straight line between the heel of the front foot and the arch of the back foot. Bend your front knee. Again, feel both thighs firing. This is where you may want to block at the front of your mat or whatever it is you're using instead of a block. Inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. Veerabhadrasana One. Now, when we're doing this correctly, your core is firing. In fact, there's no muscle group that you have that isn't engaged more than your core. It's required for pretty much every activity. But today we're focusing on strengthening it. Okay, now straighten that front leg. Reach forward over your front toes. When you can't reach any further, hinge and let that front arm fall inside of the front leg, reaching up into Trikonasana. So this, works different core muscles. Breathing. And then we're going to move into Ardha Chandrasana. So it's a balance pose. You need your core. Lower your top arm. Look forward. Bend your front knee. Transfer your weight onto your front leg. This is where you may wish to have a block to add some height. And then lift that back leg off the floor. So you're using your fingertips of the right hand on the floor. You're lifting your left arm straight up. And if you feel balanced, lift that right hand off the floor. Breathing. And then Bend the front leg, step that back leg back down on the floor. Come back into Trikonasana. Turn forward. Bring that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Open the palm. Come into your sideways twisting prayer position. And bring your hands to the floor and step your right leg back. Walk your dog. Give your head a shake. And then step your left leg forward. Let's come into our twist now. So bring your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Bring your hands together into prayer. Twist your torso, further releasing tension and stress. And release your hands. Windmill, I'm going to turn around in a moment. So windmill and come up into your warrior two position. So now your left leg is forward, or the other one if you were on the wrong leg before. Let's do the other side. Make sure you're staying lifted in your sternum. Now, this is just the little tip that works when we want to make sure we're not hunched and rounded, is lifting up here. As soon as you lift up here, you lengthen and give space for digestion, for breathing. Your shoulders go back, your shoulder blades go down. It's just the perfect little reset button. Straighten that front leg. Reach forward. When you can't reach any further, let that front arm fall inside of your front leg. Reach the other arm up, pushing your top shoulder back, breathing. Make sure your thighs and your inner thighs are firing. So that's by pressing the soles of your feet into the floor. Lower your top arm onto your hip. Look forward, bend that front leg. Walk the back leg forward to transfer the weight. Bring your fingertips to the floor. Lift your back leg up. Lift your top arm up. And if you feel balanced, lift your fingertips off the floor so you're balancing on one leg. And then step that leg back, come back into triangle pose, Trikonasana. Inhale, come on all the way up. Bring your legs together and give your legs a good shake out. We're going to come down onto the mat, and this is where we're going to need our blocks. But first, let's do Horseman's pose. Because again, it really strengthens the core, strengthens your legs, because we're going to be more active with the warmer weather. We want to be ready, full of energy, strength, and flexibility. So bring your big toes together. Outsides of your feet are parallel with the outsides of your mat. Bend your knees a lot. Shift your weight mostly into your heels. Look down, see your toes in front of your knees. That's how you know you've moved your weight towards the back. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Sit in that chair. Lowering your hips as much as you can. Horseman's pose. I don't know if anybody, I didn't know the Kentucky Derby was on this weekend, but I watch almost zero television. But apparently the long shot won. Like the horse that was rated last. In fact, it only got into the race because another horse was scratched. Well, that must have been exciting. I don't know what the payout was, but it would have been big. Well, we love it when the underdog wins. And the Leafs won to boot, so. Okay, lower your hands to the floor, bend your knees, let your head hang, walk your feet out just a little bit. In fact, let's take them to about 2.5 feet apart from the toes, one toes to the other. And let's come into our goddess pose. Sitting, bending, arms. And if you press your elbows back, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, lower your hands. So here's where we want the blocks. So we're only going to need one block for the first exercise. Have a sip of water if you need. So the first exercise, knees are bent. You're going to place your elbow, so the block is lengthwise, and both legs are up. And your hands are interlocked behind your head. So you've got your block on your right knee or your left knee, but if it's on your right knee, your right elbow will be on the block that's lengthwise. I'm sure you have a look, see what I'm doing here. Alrighty, now you want to keep your lower back connected with the mat. This is important. So this is kind of an isometric exercise for your core. The leg that doesn't have the block on it, in my case, it would be the left leg, extend it out in front, about 45 degrees. This is where you want to make sure you're keeping your lower back connected to the mat. Bring that leg back and extend it. And still breathing. And contract it, bring it back. Extend it. Holding for 5 seconds. And back. Can we do this 2 more times? Keep your lower back connected to your mat. Then we're going to switch legs. And back. And 1 more time. Extending the left leg. You can lift it a little higher if you like. Bring it in. And release the block and lower your head for a moment. Bring your knees in towards your chest. And just do a little rocking. And remember, if this is too much for you today, do what you can and just take a break. So let's try the other leg. Same deal. So now both knees are lifted. They're all at right angles. You've got your left elbow with the block on your left knee in the lengthwise position. And you're going to extend your right leg out, keeping the lower back connected to the mat. Right leg out, and lift it higher if you like. And back in. Extend out. And back in. Extend. Return. I think we're into 2 more. And back. And 1 more time. Just extend the right leg and bring it back. And lower the block and lower your legs. Again, you can bring your knees in towards your chest. So they're fairly simple, but definitely working the core. So the next one we're going to do, you're going to place the block lengthwise along your thighs. And you're going to press your elbows into the block. So your arms are not behind the back of your head. They're just hanging out in front, but you're pressing the block into your thighs, and your thighs are together. So what we're going to do is extend and release one leg at a time. You're keeping your elbows into the block. So the block is only resting on one knee when one leg is extended out. And bring it back. other leg. So my right leg is extended and the block is being pressed into my left knee. You can feel your abdominal muscles firing. Bring that leg back. Change, other leg. So we're going to do this 5 times on each side. Try to relax your neck. Just feel your core working. Bring that knee back. Other leg. Keep breathing. Bring it back. Again. Other leg. And back. Change. And back. One more time on each side. So we've changed again. And back. And last time on the other leg. And back. And take the block and bring it down onto the mat. We're going to need 2 blocks for the next one, but we're just going to take a wee break here. Take your arms out to the side, shoulder height, knees are together. Let both knees fall over to the left and turn your head to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, both knees over to the right, head to the left. Inhaling, come back to center. One more time. Other side. So your head goes to the opposite side of your knees, back to the center. And the knees back over to the right one more time, head to the left. And back to the center and place your knees on the floor. Okay, so as I said, you need 2 blocks or 2 small cushions. It's not about the weight, but it's having something to keep your legs together and keep your arms together. So it's more about alignment. So bring the block into the hand, lengthwise position between your thighs. It's on the most narrow position. So we're going to have the arms behind the head, and then you're going to lift your head so that your ears are aligned with your biceps. You're going to squeeze your block together with your thighs and keep the length in the back of your neck. And now we're going to lift the legs off the floor. So it's almost like a modified boat position. Breathing. And lower your head and your arms. A deep inhaling and deep exhaling. Lift the arms back up. Bring the ears inside the arms and lift the legs off the floor, straightening the legs, holding the block between your knees, your thighs. Breathing, holding. 2 more breaths. That would be breath, not breaths. And lower down. Whew. We're going to do 1 more. If you've got 1 more left in you. I was going to try and do 5, but I think this will do for the first time because these are very specific core exercises. And if your core is weak or your lower back is weak, you'll really be feeling this. Okay. Lengthening the back of your neck on the floor by tilting your chin forward before we get started. Make sure your block is being squeezed between your legs. And then take your arms overhead, holding the block lengthwise, lifting it off the floor about 30 degrees, and then lift your head off the floor. Feel the length in the back of your neck as your chin tilts into the notch of your throat, and then lift your legs off the floor. And breathe. Two more breaths. Last breath. Great. Beautiful. Set your blocks aside. Don't believe you'll need them anymore. And bring your knees into your chest and do some gentle rocking from side to side. Extend your left leg down in front. Place your left hand on the outside of your right knee and draw it across your body, and extend your right arm out to the right side. So we're twisting, supine twisting, releasing any tension from the lower back. Also, because we've worked the hips, thighs, and buttocks, nice little stretch. If you're not feeling enough, pull that knee, bent knee up towards your chest, your shoulders. Breathe into the area holding the most tension or stress. Now, tension doesn't magically or instantly appear in our bodies. It's a slow buildup. So by holding a stretch, you're allowing and respecting the time it takes for the muscles to release what has been latent and building for some time. So you can do the stretches quickly, but you won't get the relief or the release that you want. And bring that knee back, bring it into your chest, straighten your leg, reach up towards your ankle. So a little bit of stretch here for the hamstring. Try to keep your shoulder blades on the mat wherever you're holding your leg, somewhere between the ankle and the knee. Inhaling in place, exhale, lift your head off the floor, pull your knee towards you, and attempt to place your chin, your nose, or kiss your knee. And release, lengthen, arms by your side. Take your time as you slowly lower the leg. This strengthens and lengthens the hip flexor as it also activates thigh and lower ab muscles, part of your core. Inhaling in place, exhale, draw the left knee up and interlock your fingers 2 inches below, pull it down, and with your right hand on the outside of your left knee, draw it across your body as you roll onto your right hip. Extend your left arm out to the left side. And breathe into your hip, thigh. And if you feel like a little bit of sighing on your exhale, go for it. So the stretch may not feel good in the beginning, but after a few seconds of breathing into it, you should begin to notice a little bit of release. And this is a little bit of the chicken and the egg. And I say that because sometimes the very thought of releasing and letting go can trigger the releasing and letting go, as opposed to the physical aspect that I'm suggesting, which is what you are doing right now, stretching out the hip, the IT band, the side of your thigh, your glutes, your butt muscles, and breathing into it. So if we use both these techniques together, you can improve and increase the results of letting go, of releasing tension and stress. I'm not saying it will all go, but just letting go a little bit at a time, kind of like dropping weight. If you drop it too quickly, it comes back because you didn't really lose it. You did something extreme, but that can't be maintained. So it all comes back and you just throw up your arms and say, why bother? It doesn't work. Good health and common sense go a long way. Okay, bring the knee back to center as you roll onto your back. Draw the knee in towards your chest. Straighten the leg, reach up towards your ankle while keeping your shoulder blades on the mat. Breathing in place. Exhale, lift your head off the floor, pull the leg towards you, and again, try to bring, I don't know, your chin to your shin, your nose to your knee. This is a beautiful compression and purging of your lower colon. Stretching that hamstring. Whoops, and release the leg. Lengthen it and slowly lower it. Don't let gravity do the work. Use your muscles. So you're slowly, you can feel your core engage. Slowly lowering that leg down and bring your hands beside your body. Turn your palms up and just let everything go lax. Tuck your shoulders underneath your heart center. Roll your head gently from side to side. We're going to do our Superman posture in a moment. So we want you to gather up your energy to be ready for that. Okay. Draw your knees into your chest or roll over onto your side and use your top arm to press yourself up. Whatever you choose, come on over onto your bellies. Let's call this Superwoman. But if you're a man, it's Superman. All righty. Forehead on the mat, legs are together, straight out behind you, and your arms are straight out in front of you. I think you know what's coming. So press your hips and pelvis into the floor. Roll an invisible alley with your nose until you're looking straight down at your mat. Stretch your legs out behind you and stretch your arms out in front of you. On an inhale, just lift everything up. Would have been fun to ask Lois Lane or Kent Clark, Superman, aka Superman. How hard was it? Of course, they had guide wires holding them up, but I don't know about their arms and their legs. Maybe they did. But you can feel your back muscles working. So this is the core on your back working. One more inhalation, reach and stretch. Great. Bring the arms by your side. Turn your palms up. Turn your head to the right. Let your shoulders melt. Big toes touch and heels splay out. Very, very demanding posture. Working against the force of gravity and activating all of the muscles of the back of the body. Bring your head back to center. Bring the arms straight out in front. Let's try this one more time. Press your hips and pelvis into the floor. Roll an invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck. On an inhale, lift your arms and legs off the floor. Breathing, as you breathe in, notice a little bit of a lift. And as you exhale, can you maintain that lift? Another breath in, breath out. Last breath in, lifting, and come on, all the way out. Great. Turn your head to the opposite side. Big toes touch, heels splay out. Palms are facing up, and the shoulders are melting into the mat. Bring your head back to center. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Let's press up and let's come into our modified child's pose. Knees are wide apart, although those of you who don't want to bend your knees more than 90 degrees, stay in your puppy pose with your knees under your hips and just lower your forehead onto the floor just to release the lower back and lengthen the spine. Everyone else whose knees are the outside of the mat, big toes touch, tops of the feet are flat on the floor, slowly take your buttocks back towards your heels and release your torso between your thighs. Forehead on the mat, or if you need to add extra height, you can use your block. You can fold your forearms and make a pillow, or you can stack your fists. And breathe. Breathing into your side and back ribs. This is where about 70% of the breath typically goes into side and back ribs. Let your belly be soft right now. Filling right up to your lungs and emptying from the lungs, the diaphragm and the belly. Inhaling the belly, the diaphragm and the lungs fill. And let it all go. Okay. We're going to do one more core exercise, and this is our plank position. Now we have a choice here. We can do it on our forearms. If your wrists are weak, then you're doing this on your forearms. And then we're going to go to the side. So I'm doing it on the forearms and just showing you. But if you're able to, holding in plank, or you're on your forearms. Now roll over and take all of your weight onto that back arm. So your left arm or right, doesn't matter. We're going to do both sides. Lift the top arm up. Remember, you've got 3 positions for your feet. Your feet can be stacked. They can be separated, or you can have your kickstand. Okay. Now the other option too is just to lower that left leg. You won't get the same amount of work for the core if you do that. And come back into the center, and let's flip around to the other side. Make sure you're pressing your fingers into the floor, coming back to the center and releasing your knees. Come on onto your backs. Draw the knees in towards your chest. Do a little bit of rocking from side to side. Place the soles of your feet on your mat with your knees bent. Be sure that your heels are lining up with your sits bones. And then lift your shoulders up and tuck them under your shoulder blades. Tilt your chin towards the notch in your throat. Your arms are going to be beside your body with your palms facing down. So in bridge pose, once we're up, I'd like us to think about having a neutral back. I do suggest that you press into the floor as we begin to roll up, but once you're holding, can you consider a neutral back? So there's no pressing the belly up or sagging through the lower back. It's just in a neutral position. Arms beside the body, palms are facing down. Tilt your pelvis up, pressing the small of your back into the floor, and then peel your spine off the floor. Slowly activating the fronts of the thighs, pressing up. This is where your lower back feels neutral, and you can even feel a little bit of your belly pulling in towards your spine. So you're still activating and firing the core, activating fronts and backs of thighs. One more breath in, and starting from the top of your vertebra, come on all the way back down. And releasing the lower back, releasing the arms. We're going to do this one more time and bring a little stretch into an opening of the shoulder blades and the front of the chest before we wrap this practice up. So once again, tilt the pelvis. Your arms are beside your body with your palms facing down. You're tilting your pelvis up. You're pressing the lower back into the floor, only to lift it up off the floor, one vertebra at a time, pressing hips and thighs up. Now, if you can, bring straight arms under the body, interlock the fingers so that your knuckles are pointing towards your heels. And then you're doing a little rocking from side to side on your shoulders to bring your shoulder blades together. Feel your core activating here. So your arms are under your body, arms are straight, flat on the floor. If they're not flat on the floor, stay in the bridge. If they are flat on the floor, lower your torso onto your arms. Bring your heels towards your hips if they feel too far away. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower the torso down. One more time, pressing up. Release the arms. And slowly, starting from the top, bring your torso back onto the floor. Bring the knees up in towards the chest, and then place the knees or the feet at the outer edges of the mat. Take your arms out to the side, shoulder height. Drop both knees so your feet are on the edges of your mat. Knees are bent. Drop both knees over to the left. So nice gentle twist for the lower back and the core. Inhale, knees back to center. Exhale, knees lowered to the other side. Inhaling, center. Exhaling to the left side. Feet stay at the outer edges of your mat. Inhaling, back to center. Last time, exhaling. Knees to the right. Back into the center. Straighten your legs down in front. Bring your arms beside your body with your palms facing up in the open and receiving position. Bring at least the inner knees together. Let your feet splay out. The palms of your hands up. Tilt your chin towards the center of your chest. Close your eyes. Let your eyeballs sink into their sockets. Separate the biting surfaces of the teeth. Relax your jaw. Relax your lower back. Let everything in your body, every body part has become soft and heavy, supported by the floor, allowing the benefits of everything you have done to be integrated into your bodies. Breathing into your bellies. This is where you can really notice your belly rising and deep exhaling. Long, full, deep inhaling and deep exhaling. Stretch your arms over behind your heads. Reach and stretch. And now Point your feet, flex your feet, point, stretching your arms, and let it all go. Rolling over onto your side. You can stay here for a moment before you transition into sitting. It's always a good idea to take your time before you press yourself back up into a seated position. Time and health are two precious assets that we don't recognize until they have been depleted. Health is the number one wealth. Ralph Waldo Emerson and Joni Skeeter. Have a fabulous day, everybody. Namaste.